is not a happy song, but it is the most freeing song I've ever heard in my life, and it takes me to a place every single time.
I see nothing wrong with this.
Yeah,
I see nothing wrong with this.
No, you're not like Raffi got the whole world in my. Not that I pegged you for like a Raffi guy, but you're like that Pearl Jam.
You don't know.
You're right. I don't. And that's why we're sitting here talking to you to find out if you're a Raffi guy. I mean, listen, Raffi has Mars. Like, let's be real. We're going to bring to the stream our guest of honor. And has a fantastic name. Kind of obsessed. He is the one and only Kevin Mellon. Golf claps. How's it going, Kevin?
Good. Enjoying. I'm in my friend John Floyd's kitchen. He's got some lovely raspberry cheesecake cookies that I assume he got for me. So.
Okay. Are you going to share?
I mean, yes. Come on over. Have some.
Okay. Well,
just fax them to us. That's fine.
Well, we appreciate it. So,
did you say fax them to you?
Yeah, just fax them up.
Okay, yeah.
Is that still a thing? Like fax machines are still a thing, right?
Sadly, they are. At the office for the animation studio I work for, occasionally we will have to fax something, and it's very odd, and we all have to remember how to use the scanner printer as a fax machine. So.
Whoa.
Weird.
I mean, listen, I'm a person, I love like things from the past. It's very like 90s. So you think I'd embrace a fax machine, but I don't know. Not into it. But Kevin, thank you so much. We're so excited. Okay. So our first question for you, if you were to describe the Midwest in one sentence, what would it be?
Oh my God. Well, I just got done driving in rush hour, so slow and angry. But that's not accurate. No, I'd say it's just more, I don't know, having gone to college in New Jersey and lived in Atlanta the last 10 years, there's just a different pace. So I would just say kind of easygoing and kind. People here are kind.
Are they? What's that like? Because in Miami, they are not kind.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're in Florida. I'm sorry. No, Atlanta is very similar. Like, it was one of those things where I didn't know what to expect when I first moved there. And it fit right in because of growing up here in the Kansas City area. There's just a lot of very similar overlap with the style of person. Atlanta does have a hell of a lot more like Hollywood and like tech people and all that stuff. So you get a lot more fast-paced people, but the people who are from there and the people who are Southern in general are very similar to Missouri, to the Midwesterners. And, they have a pace and they move at it, and you'll be damned if you're getting in the way or if they're going to get out of your way. So
yeah. Well, I was going to say Atlanta's kind of like, not necessarily the new hotspot. I guess it's kind of been a hotspot for a while since so much goes on there in terms of like film, TV, and everything. Was that one of your main reasons for making the move down there?
That's legit the reason. I got offered the opportunity to work on the cartoon Archer. So I left Kansas City in about this time in 2012. They asked me to come out there, and 10 years later, I'm still working for them and still out there. So
crazy. Pretty epic.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things I always tell people. It's the power of like social media and stuff like that. Is that I come from doing comic books and graphic novels, and had done a few, and was working on a few others. And Archer was my favorite show on at the time, and still is. Pardon me, the IPA is already giving me the burps, so I apologize.
He has the burps.
Yeah. Just don't want to get the meeps. I found the art director who eventually became my boss, Neil Holman, on Twitter, and we started talking, and eventually they put out asking, say, hey, we're looking for storyboard artists, and it wasn't anything I was interested in until the opportunity became available to work on that show. Like, I was not interested in working in television, had no interest in working in movies. Little did I know what life had in store for me. But yeah, I replied to that tweet, and he was kind of aware of some of my comic book work, and he said, okay, let's talk. And we did, and they ended up hiring me part-time on season 3. So I did a few episodes of season 3 while living in Kansas City. And at the end, they were like, hey, if we're going to keep doing this, we got to put a ring on it. You got to move here. So
come on down.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't know what to expect. And, like I said, I ended up falling in love with the city because I didn't know anybody. So I spent the first aside from hanging out with my coworkers whenever they would stay late, I would just spend the first like 6 to 8 months just like driving around, getting lost, and then turning on GPS and like getting home. And I ended up just really kind of like enjoying everything I found. And plus the places that I was introduced to when I first went there were such good places. There's still the bars and restaurants and stuff like that I hang out at now.
So where's the craziest location that you found yourself in on a trek around Atlanta?
Oh man, well, it's not so. I mean, once you live there, it's not crazy. But at the time, it was crazy because there's this wild country bar called Southern Comfort across a little bit of ways from a drive-in movie theater, and that whole area of town was not something I was expecting. And also, that bar is like it's like the bar in Blues Brothers. So that was something I was not expecting. But once I went there a couple more times, they do wonderful karaoke on Sundays, and you get to see some amazing things. So
Kevin, what's your karaoke song? We must know.
Yes.
Oh man, I don't have a standard one, but I need to, and I'm thinking it's gotta be "Separate Ways" by Journey.
Okay. Oh wow.
The last time I did karaoke, I did My Chemical Romance, I'm Not Okay, and then I did, what was the other one I did? I don't remember, but I mean, that was pre-pandemic, so the memory kind of goes.
I was going to say, you must be very diverse in your karaoke, because those are two very different artists, you know? Like,
Neil Diamond, I've done some Neil Diamond. I'm a big Neil Diamond fan.
We love it. We live. I mean, mine is either like Jackson 5 or Highway to Hell, AC/DC. I know Danica is like,
I go between like Etta James and Coheed and Cambria. Like,
you got to read the room, you know, just you have to read the room. Anyway,
I feel like it takes a special audience to do Coheed, because especially if you do Welcome Home, that and getting people to like chant along with you in the middle, like
you got to know who you're singing at.
Definitely.
I used to. So actually, my friend whose house I'm at right now, his mom used to run karaoke at various places around town when we were growing up. So I spent a lot of time in karaoke bars, and it was amazing because the best part, there was this one bar that I always went to, and there was this guy, business suit, bald, glasses. He'd get up very proper, and then all of a sudden, Back in Black, and he's just like going all out. Yeah. So he's the best.
I hate to say this, and this is like probably like not the best take, but for me, karaoke is a competitive sport. Like if there's somebody, and same for Danica, because Danica can like wail, right? So it's like if I see somebody in a karaoke bar that does a good song, I'm like, sit down. Here comes Whitney Houston. Like, I got you.
So the last time, I don't remember which My Chemical Romance song I did. I know I've done It's Not Okay, I'm Not Okay, and I know I did another one. I was anyways, it's off of my mind just blanked. Anyway, so I did it one week, and then went to karaoke again a week or two later, and there was a guy in the audience when I did my version of it, and I could tell he had gotten there early the next time to put his name to do that song, so he did that song, which I was like, okay. I mean, it's not like I was going to do it twice, but
that's spicy.
Go right ahead, sir. Enjoy.
He was good though. We both it's I was the exact opposite of him. I'm large and huge guy, long hair, beard, and he was tiny, scrawny, whatever. So I feel like we gave the regulars, a little bit of a dichotomy there.
Well, that was very kind of y'all. Very, very kind.
Yeah. Well, of course, we would be remiss if we did not talk at length a little bit about Archer.
Please,
we actually just wanted to ask, what is the biggest misconception about being a storyboard artist? And for people who may not know, i.e. sort of us, can you help clarify the difference between a storyboard artist and an animator?
Sure, and that actually answers the question itself. The biggest misconception is that I do not draw what you see on TV. So I am not an animator. I am not, and also I don't write the show. Storyboarding has an element of writing editorial to it, but it is taking the script and providing a visual blueprint. So easiest way to put it is what a storyboard artist is I get the script that the writer or writers in this case, as in recent seasons, because most people don't know that the first 9, almost 10 seasons were largely written by one dude. So it's, very singular voice. And then the last few seasons, they've kind of branched out and hiring more people. So anyways, either way, you get the script, and what we do is we break it down into, for lack of a better term, rough sketches that if you were to watch it, has the same vibe and tone of the show, but just isn't in the actual style of the show. So, and then that's the difference between animator and storyboarder is an animator will take that blueprint and they take the other elements that are made, which is a painted background or any 3D elements, and then the illustrated characters, because Archer's done kind of very interestingly different from most shows. I won't bore you with the details, but there we have what's basically they create a lot of the assets in Photoshop and Illustrator. I don't know how much y'all do graphic design, but they use Illustrator to create all the figure drawings, and then they put all that all gets put together in After Effects.
Oh shit! Okay,
it's a very
know how to use Photoshop and After Effects because I did some projection design and control in grad school.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, if you're ever looking for After Effects work, let's see if Floyd County is hiring. It's an interesting method, and it was kind of like one of those things that was developed when it was like a room full of people in renting a house in Atlanta. They made it's like they made Frisky Dingo, and then when that was done, they moved over, and those same people moved over into Archer, and they just kind of kept refining that process. And it's such a specific thing that the show is still largely made that way today. There's obviously the show looks way better. Like that is one of the biggest. Actually, that's also the other big misconception about the show itself is that like people think that it still looks like it did 10 years ago, and that just isn't the case. It's a much more advanced looking show, but most people really only see like the first season or two where we were still getting our legs going as far as like the humor was there, the acting was there, the animation was getting there, and it improves with every season. Like I'm in the middle of helping out on season 13 right now.
Oh my
gosh. And it's
13
I feel like
that's nuts. That's nuts.
Yeah, I feel like it's. I mean, I can say this because the president of FX has said it publicly, but it's like he has talked about Archer and It's Always Sunny as being like, we'll keep going as long as they want to, So we'll hopefully, I mean, never say, you never like cash your checks before you have them in hand, but
that's illegal.
FX has been very. FX has been fortunately very kind to the show, and the audience, has but has been very excited about all the new directions because we spent like 4 seasons with Archer in a coma, so
right. Okay, so obviously that you already mentioned that Archer was like one of your favorite shows before you had the opportunity to work with Archer, but was there another like comic or cartoon that really impacted you when you were growing up?
Oh, comic book wise, I don't know that I could narrow it down to one. But like I remember like the first stuff. Actually, I can combine both into one answer. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So yeah.
Good answer.
I was one of those kids though where I found the old Eastman Laird black and white stuff, or not black and white because I got those oversized collected editions that came out in like the late 80s because I'm old. And so I discovered that, and then the cartoon came about and all that stuff. So I think it's just because like I spent so much time, like my parents, for whatever reason, it was the 80s, times were different, so they left me in bookstores while they went shopping. So yeah, I discovered all that stuff, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was one of those ones that just jumped right off the rack, and then the cartoon came along, and that was like just an even further like I liked even as a kid, I understood the dichotomy, and I liked the dichotomy of the much more serious, like adultish themes of the initial like year or two of the comic, and then the much more cartoony, like we're surfing in the sewers, and we've got a pizza van, and like every kid, you want a pizza van.
I would still love one even as an adult.
Right? Yeah.
Who's your favorite turtle?
Oh, I gotta go with man. It depends on the day. Most of the time it's Leonardo, but sometimes it's Raphael. So
okay.
Yeah. I really liked the series of issues that they based the 89-90, the original live action movie. The series of issues that they based that storyline off of is some of my favorite stuff, and it's some of the darker stuff in that initial year. Because it's where it's the same plot that happens in the movie. Like Raphael goes out and I think in the comic it's Leonardo. He gets the shit beat out of him by the foot. and it really kind of ends up breaking the turtles down a lot, and they spend that time on the farm, whatever. And as a kid, like, it's like growing up and just living in my head with all these things, like that was just a world of possibilities and story. Remember like I was in like 4th grade or something like that, making my own Ninja Turtles comics. I did like a Ninja Turtles like choose your own adventure, where it's like, you get all the 8.5 by 11 paper and you staple it in the middle and fold it, and then I made my own, like, if this, go here, and then you turn the page, yeah.
I feel like we need to introduce you to Casey Jost, who we had on the stream. I guess was that Tuesday, because he's writing the new Ninja Turtle movie with his brother.
Oh, heck yeah! Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Danica, tell him about your cassette tape you have.
I mean, that was, of course, my next question was, were you also influenced musically by the Ninja Turtles original album, which, of course, I had on cassette from Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
Yes, same. I had it on cassette, and I used to sit in my parents' dining room, because that was where the cassette player, record player was at the time. And I sat there listening to the Turtles, not the Vanilla Ice rap song, but the original one on the original album, the rap song. And I had that, like, the TURTLE power. Like, I had that memorized. I used to be able to do the whole thing.
Prime time, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because I memorized that, and then I memorized Do the Bartman. Like, I used to know all the lyrics too. Yeah.
Of course.
I've seen
my brain is such. Yeah.
I saw somebody that used, like, their go-to karaoke song was Turtle Power, and it would bring the house down. Shout out Courtney Dodge, wherever you are. Yeah.
It'd be amazing. I've definitely listened to that song in so long, but it'd be amazing to just kind of like wing it and see how much of like 9-year-old brain kind of comes forward.
I bet I still know all of April's Ballad.
Oh man,
I bet I do.
Okay, so that was the thing that used to tick me off as a kid, because with that and then the '89 Batman soundtrack, there's that April's Ballad, and then there's Vicky's Waiting on that, and I used to get so mad because they slowed down the vibe so much.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
You got to throw a ballad in for
you have to
in the audience.
Right.
And that's another one was that whole Batman soundtrack. I think I still have most of that memorized. So
okay. Well, next time we karaoke, Kevin, we're getting some
Oh, we're doing Bat Dance. Yeah, and then we're gonna be partying in.
Oh my god. I'm in. I want to be there.
For posterity.
Yes.
I will say it's one of those things, like it's unfortunate that we live in a world now where someone like in the vein of a Prince nobody's doing concept albums with superhero movies like that anymore. Like, why don't we have
why don't we is the correct
yeah like I don't even know who it would be. Like, would the equivalent be like, are we getting like Justin Bieber to do like like a fantastic or an Avengers movie or something? Like, I don't know.
Sure.
Veto.
I feel like the closest we get, The Weeknd, I feel like would probably be down to do something like that. Like, that'd be
The Weeknd, Billie Eilish, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I did like that Bond song she did. So I mean, that would be kind of dope if there was more.
Oscar worthy. I feel bad. I'm just so like not up to date with the current pop artists, so I can't really. I don't know. I'm stuck in the 90s. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
All right. Danica?
I live in both worlds. So yeah, sorry, Danica.
No. Fine. Let us.
Well, we also wanted, of course, to ask about Hitmonkey. So,
please, yeah.
First of all, I guess, what was that process like, having worked on it for so long before it actually, has finally come out?
Oh man,
and how are the responsibilities different, having now been an art director?
Sure, it's a world apart. So, as a storyboard artist and then a storyboard director, because the last couple of seasons of Archer is that. It's like I'm running a team of at most 8 to 9 people, and communicating with people, directors above me and stuff like that, and not really so much coordinating with all the other departments as much. Whereas moving into art directing on Hitmonkey was a real kind of like trial by fire for a while, because I had to learn how to navigate not just directing like the people who are going to direct the borders, but also talking with the background, because we have directors of every department, and then I'm over them, and then I have a director above me, and that's kind of where it stops, and so it was a thing of like being in managing like 8 people to going towards managing like say 15 people, but those 15 people are managing 100, You know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of a weird, like, you know, they're dealing with a lot of the day to day, but me and my associate art director are sitting there coordinating all this stuff, telling them what to do, drawing over things, giving them feedback, direction, and it's constant. It's just imagine your phone blowing up every 30 seconds with new chats from completely different people, and put times that 8 hours a day for 3 years.
Can I say what it sounds like? But like, don't take this personally.
Please,
It sounds like an MLM, but you're actually doing things, and you're not like, you know, selling fake products or trying to get us to drink your detox tea. It's like, you know, 'cause that's always like, there's the person at the top and then people underneath and people underneath. But yeah.
No, it's very much like that, you know, and you know, you're really trying to manage at the end of the day, the biggest part of the job is managing everything into a cohesive vision and a cohesive voice. And so it's like, we have the show creators like Josh Gordon and Will Speck, like they, you know, came up with a vision of what they wanted to see, and they conveyed that to me and my, you know, and my other directors. And we work to not only fulfill that vision, but to plus it, to add to it, to, you know, because it's like a script does not supply all the answers. You know what I mean? So, and I actually, when I do talks about storyboarding, I do a talk called "The Script is a Problem," and where I kind of talk about how the script in itself is a blueprint for the show, that the story that is being told. The storyboards are a blueprint for how you're going to tell that story, you know, and then art directing is sitting there and basically going over every level of construction and going like, okay, is this right? Do we need this? Oh crap, we forgot to do this. We've got to go back here, you know? So, and it's one of those, unfortunately, like, people I work with are very talented, very smart, and very just kind of like eager to be a part of the process. And everybody was excited about to make that show. So you know, even though it took us almost, for me personally, I was on the show for about 3 years, because pre-production starts well before actual production. And I think actual production was about almost 2 years.
Before you started, you had no beard. And by the end, you were
right, yeah.
man.
I mean, my hair used to be short, and now it goes down past my nipples. So, you know.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah.
So before we kind of pivot a little bit to talk about music, we wanted to mention that, of course, next week you're going to be at Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City, and you have the opportunity to do a lot of these conventions. But we wanted to know if there's a guest or a celebrity that you maybe met that left an impact on you, or somebody that you're hoping to meet at some point at a convention.
I'm bad about knowing like who I'd want to meet, like, but I love having met the people I've met, if that makes any sense. So
for sure.
It's always nice because like I'll meet people and then I'll realize later who they were. So like, you know, there's a couple of those, but one of this is really a story about how dumb I am. But one time Jason Momoa used to film a bunch of stuff in Atlanta, so I used to see him at bars all the time, and I didn't talk to him a lot, but he would come over to the table I was at because he knew the people I was with, and he would say hi to us and talk to him. It was very chill, and eventually he had to stop hanging out at that bar because people started showing up just to bug him. So like that sucked.
Sure.
But I went up to him in Kansas City, and he was very clearly very, very exhausted, and I was in the green room with him because I think it was in the green room. He was there, and I was just like, man, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bug you, but I'm bugging you. But I used to talk to you at this bar. We have this bartender friend, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, that's cool. It's good to see you again." And he was just very nice and and even though he was exhausted, he still took a second to say hi. You know.
I love that so much.
I think it was last year. Riding the escalator after doing my panel, and look behind me, and it's and I'm blanking on his name. I forget. He's such a nice guy. He was the gentleman who plays Castiel from Supernatural.
Danica, you should know this.
Yeah,
I don't remember his name either. But
Mark?
he's delightful.
No. Crap, I forget. But anyways,
Yeah.
he was. It was one of those instances of like, I rarely think this because I have met enough celebrities that like, you know, just through conventions, and that's not bragging, but like you just run into people in Atlanta, like you throw a rock and you hit someone in the TV business or the movie
Misha
business.
Collins.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was. I didn't even introduce myself or whatever. I just said, hey, you know, I really appreciate, you know, you coming to our city. I hope it's treating you well. And he's like, it is, man. I'm having a really good time. Thank you for asking. And, you know, then he went on his way. But he was also shorter than you expect. So, you know, but he's a normal height. but on TV he just seems big. So
Sure. Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I had the opportunity to meet all of the original voices from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so that was
that's
pretty
awesome.
impactful. Yeah.
No, that's
Humble
sick.
brag.
I forget. It's one of those ones where oh god, because it was who was Donatello?
Oh god, I don't know the name of the actor.
No, was it one of the Corey? It was one of the Coreys. Corey Feldman. Oh yeah,
Oh,
my friend John
okay.
says Corey Feldman. Was he Donatello or was
Thanks,
he somebody else?
John.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Anyway, I don't know where my brain was going with that. I sidetracked myself with that. Oh, I will say, so it was being in Atlanta. So it's like it's not something I don't know if a lot of people know this. I tried to talk about it because it's an awesome part of my career. But I storyboarded on Vampire Diaries for 3 seasons.
Oh yeah.
So got to meet those guys, and they are wonderfully nice guys because both of the leads eventually directed episodes. So they called me in to work with them hand in hand to kind of like figure out sequences that they were doing. And so much so that, it's like, got numbers and I can text them without feeling weird every once in a while. So that's nice,
That's
and
awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool.
and working on Black Lightning was so much fun because and I didn't get to meet him officially until the rap party, but Chris Williams was always very, very cool. He was always very nice, to be around. And I remember I wound up standing next to him. We were at some swanky place for the rap party where like it's like a circle bar and you're looking down and there's just lights going and crazy stuff like that. And I just looked over and he's just standing right next to me. I was like, I really enjoyed your work this season. So yeah, he was like, thanks, man. So he's a very sweet individual, and yeah, I was very proud, very happy to be a part of that show because I feel like it was doing something that didn't exist at the time, but has paved the way for a lot of stuff since. So
Big time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk music a little bit. Then we have a game
Yeah.
we're gonna play. So
Okay.
Manica.
Yeah, so we definitely want to talk first about your newest album, so Songs from the Giant's Chair. So after listening to it, we can definitely hear some of your inspirations in there. So
You see my beard just drop out of my mouth there?
sometimes we just forget. It's fine.
Man.
So first, we just want to ask about the title and where that came from.
Sure. So it's first off, it's an homage to the Tears for Fears album, Songs from the Big Chair, which
nice.
itself was a riff on the movie Sybil and about how she only felt comfortable like in her therapist's big chair. So, and then there's a Kansas City band in the 90s called Giant's Chair, and so it was just me kind of like taking those two things and paying homage to like where I come from, essentially, and also there's 2 songs in the album, When Giants Slumber and then The Giants Awake, that kind of lead into each other. It's 2 songs, but technically one big long song. And that is the heart and core of that 5-song EP is those 2 songs. And it's really just kind of dealing with, talking about dealing with the giant, and instead of saying elephant, it's the giant in the room, which is our trauma or the things that we're trying to move through into evolving into the next phase of who we are.
Cool. Out of curiosity, like what came first? Like, would you say like growing up, or is it always like hand in hand? You're like, I'm not only into comics and this kind of stuff, but I'm into music too. Or was one a love first, or which?
Music was my first love. Because I remember being a kid, my parents took me to Branson, and I don't remember who we went to see, but we went to Branson, Missouri, which for those who don't know is Las Vegas for the Midwest. But Branson is where the show Ozark. Branson is not too far from where the show Ozark takes place, but Ozark is filmed in Atlanta. Weirdly, so
yeah,
everything is.
Yeah, they do. I mean, that's the thing is like I played darts with the kid who was playing MacGyver a couple years ago. Like, just ran into him in a bar, and we just started. I mean. He's very cool. He's very nice. So
good dart player.
He was a big Archer fan. Me and my buddy got his number because he wanted to come by and see the studio, and then he never responded to that. So it's like, whatever. That happens.
Okay. You probably beat him in darts. That's fine.
Yeah, we were very good. We were going like 2-3 times a week at that point. But no, I remember, I don't remember who we went to see. It was probably just some act that's always there at the time. This is in the mid '80s, whatever. And I was probably like 5 or 6. But I just remember seeing the guitar player, and I just remember pointing and telling my mom, like, I want to do that. I want to be that. And it took a few years for that to happen, various kind of like family stuff and all that. But eventually, my parents did break down and get me a guitar and got me guitar lessons, and just never looked back from there. And then the art thing kind of developed a little simultaneously, because I remember getting I drew in grade school, and then I remember when around the time the first Batman movie came out, I really started drawing, because I started mimicking all these cracked magazine covers or Batman comics and stuff like that. So it's kind of I do remember the music stuff first, but I feel like they would have happened that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because for me, like the thing I always try to make people aware of about how my brain thinks is that like drawing for me is not because, and I know this is going to sound weird, but it's not because I like drawing. It's because I like telling stories, and drawing is a function of storytelling for me. So drawing well is a function of telling a better story. So, and the same thing with and playing guitar is the same to me. It's like I didn't pick up a guitar and start trying to shred. I picked up a guitar and started writing songs. Like, I remember, I didn't know how to fret. I didn't know how to do anything. And I remember I found my mom's acoustic, and she didn't want me touching that thing because it was from the 60s or whatever. And I still have it to this day. I stole it from her. But I remember just playing open strings in a patterns and writing songs like that. I was writing Nothing Else Matters before Nothing Else Matters. So,
well, obviously, music is it's so special. And, sometimes you just hear a song that can just dramatically turn your day around or change your mood. Is there a song like that for you, or an album that you can listen to that you're like, you know what, my day's not going great, but if I listen to blank.
So many. This is one that gets some looks when I tell people this, but if I were to take an album with me, Desert Island album, it'd be Pearl Jam Versus. But if I only had to listen to one song all the time, it'd be Indifference off that album, which is not a happy song, but it is the most freeing song I've ever heard in my life, and it takes me to a place every single time.
I see nothing wrong with this.
Yeah,
I see nothing wrong with this.
No, you're not like Raffi got the whole world in my. Not that I pegged you for a Raffi guy, but you're like that Pearl Jam.
You don't know.
You're right. I don't. And that's why we're sitting here talking to you, to find out if you're a Raffi guy. Listen, Raffi has bars. Let's be real.
I'm Pearl Jam fan from legit OG Pearl Jam fan from day one. When 10 came out, a buddy of mine got it for my birthday, and it was right around the time that their Unplugged came out, and before they hit big and stuff like that. It was a little bit before that, because anyways, I'm a nerd and I know the timelines. But I love 10. 10 means so much to me, but Versus means, I don't know, something about that album just always takes me to a place from beginning to end, and I'm in it through the whole thing. I'm screaming during Go, I'm singing during Elderly Woman, and it's and by the time it hits Versus, I'm still trying to work up the courage to do a cover of Indifference, because it's, I love it so much I don't want to fuck it up.
I get that. Yeah,
okay,
I get that.
Well,
yeah.
Challenge.
But also it depends on mood, because it's the other, I've been, I did all the drums on this album, but it's all I don't have any problem telling people I programmed it all. It's all digital drums, but I've been learning to really play drums. So it's I put on that first Weezer Blue album, and that thing just is a trip from beginning to end,
Yes,
So
that's our
That's
language.
That's
We're
Yeah.
Weezer kids.
That's my love language.
yeah, same, yeah. And I do, to do the Whiplash, it's those first 3 Weekend albums, to bring him up again, those first 3 mixtapes, those, I still go back to, what was that, 2011 when that came out, but also those albums, especially that first one, is such a mood place, where that's driving with the windows down. It's 70 degrees, but you're just a little chilly, and you're just kind of
just a little chilly. I prefer that to maybe some of his newer stuff, but The Weeknd,
I think it's weird.
So what a talented human.
Yeah, he's lost me with the last 2. There's songs I like on him, and especially playing drums. There's stuff on After Hours that's just straight up just the Billie Jean beat. So that's all I love. It's fun to play along with. But.
Thank you. Yes, yes, that is. Every time I hear, I'm like, "Are you Michael Jackson?"
If you're gonna steal from the best,
Yeah, fair enough. I
Yeah.
steal from Rafi. All right, so we have a game we're going to play, Kevin. This is the game of Would You Rather. There's no wrong answers. Whatever you want to pick is correct. If you want to elaborate on why you picked it, fantastic. If not, that is fine too. So, Danica, do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, Kevin. Would you rather bring back the Sony Walkman or bring back the Talkboy?
Oh God, Walkman. I don't even know what the Talkboy is.
Okay, so the Talkboy was from Home Alone. I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. So there's
Definitely late 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I loved my Walkman. I went around like because mine I think was one of those ones that had a recorder in it, so you could kind of hold it up to the radio and record stuff. Because by then they were cheaper then, so like it wasn't like it was crazy expensive, but also I broke them like crazy. I dropped them all the time, and so it's like I learned how to fix that little metal wire that went in to close the case and all that, you know, because God forbid I actually go to my parents and say, hey, I broke this thing that you bought me.
Well, if you can fix it, I think you're the real MacGyver. All right, so here's the next one. Would you rather perform with the first band whose album you bought or perform with the first band you saw live?
Okay, we got to define. Okay, first album I paid money for or
Yes.
was given to me. Okay, first album I paid money for. So yes, I would totally perform with Paula Abdul, but I also would rather. I mean, I would perform. I did go see. Who's the first band I went to see on my own? I want to say it was Candlebox.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was
Is that
Candlebox.
far behind? Is that so?
Yeah, it was that era. So they were huge, and they performed at Memorial Hall in Kansas City, Kansas. And I don't know why I'm telling this story, but anyways, so they ended up, they were so big then that they sold out, and so they ended up having to go 2 nights, and so I was able to go to the second night, and it was like the better night of the two from what I heard from people in high school who went to both. But I remember though, because I couldn't drive, so my dad took me, and then I knew I was going to get a ride home with some seniors. I was like a freshman or something like that, and I was going to go ride home with some seniors. And the seniors got drunk and high and didn't want to drive, and so they're like, "Can you drive?" And I'm like, "No." So I rode home with a bunch of seniors who were blitzed out of their minds. So yeah.
Party.
Anyways, answer is I'm torn. Can I get Candlebox to open for Paula Abdul so I can perform with both?
Yeah, and let's bring in MC Scat Cat, right? Was that his name? Scat MC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. Danica,
oh my goodness. Well, next one. Would you rather
opposites attract? Yes. Okay.
Oh my. Have to eat Chessie?
I think it's
corn.
cheesy. I think it's a sweet cheesy, but
cheesy corn once a day, or have to eat chicken spadini once a day.
This is so odd. What is chicken spadini? Is that just like a kebab?
So essentially, when we were researching foods that were like born in Kansas City, apparently this is like a Kansas City thing.
Cheesy corn is, yeah. I don't know the chicken spadini. That just looks like a kebab. I mean,
I think it is. Yeah. I think it's a lemon chicken on a skewer Italian thing.
I mean, and that's a tough choice because as a 10-year resident of Atlanta, lemon chicken is totally the jam. I'm gonna go with the chicken, but I'm real torn here because the cheesy corn is also I like how it says Chessie corn instead of cheesy.
I know.
I think actually I'm gonna switch my vote and go with Chessie corn just so I can be like Chessie corn time.
Chessie corn. I think we invented something here, folks.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
Chessie corn.
I'm starting my restaurant in Kansas City, and it's just gonna be Chessie corn.
Done. Well, I hope it does karaoke. All right, here's the next one. Would you rather, Chessie corn, write the soundtrack for a Marvel movie or write the soundtrack for a horror film?
Horror. I don't think I could do the uplifting kind of like mega battle thing that the Marvel movies do. I respect the shit out of them doing that. That seems hard. Whereas horror, I feel like I could do kind of like ambient, low rumble and then,
Yeah, more in your wheelhouse. Very fair. Good answer. Yeah. Maybe we can get Paula in for a real quick, quick number.
Well, I mean, there is that thing of like taking old pop songs or just pop songs and then slowing them down to creepy versions. So we could do like when it's a track, So yeah, I think we're good.
I love it.
I'm gonna get to work on this.
Done. All right.
Can you imagine just a guy with a knife and a shadowy face just slow walking as it's like, we come together because I love it. I
love
Yeah,
it.
hey, see,
It makes me
yeah,
uncomfortable and I like it.
Done. All right. And
We're-
okay.
we're gonna see this in a trailer in about 2 months because somebody
I
saw
know.
this. and-
I know.
yeah.
What a jerk. All right.
Copyright, patent pending.
Copyright. All right. TM. All right. Next one.
Right. Oh my, would you rather be on an episode of Cobra Kai or have your likeness used in a Street Fighter video game?
This is tough because I love Cobra Kai and I did just rewatch Street Fighter 2 the other day. I'm gonna go with Cobra Kai. I think that would be
So
I think having my legs swapped because there's no way I can do any of the fighting stuff. So it just I'd be standing there and then they would sweep my leg and I'd be like, okay, I'm done.
fair. I mean,
It'd just be me on the mat, like looking up at everybody for the rest of the episode. So, yeah.
iconic though. Iconic. And I think Ralph Macchio is going to be there next weekend as well, right?
Oh yeah.
I did see that. Yeah, so that's gonna be awesome. So.
Good plug. Good plug.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the next one. Would you rather have Hit Monkey house sit for you for a weekend or have Damon Salvatore house sit for you? Oh Lord. Okay.
You would think Hit Monkey would be awesome, but no, he's a monkey. He's gonna destroy everything. He's gonna get mad. He's not gonna know how the TV works. He's not gonna know, So no, I gotta go with Damon. Damon, at least, I mean, he cleans up after what he eats usually. So
Fair. That is fair.
I mean, because if I could get those tips on how to get blood out of a rug, that would be really cool. Because that is not an easy gig,
We don't need to ask why. That's fine.
Yeah.
Why you need to get blood out of your rugs?
I meant wine.
Fun.
I feel like blood would be easier than wine.
Really?
Just ask Draconic.
Okay. All right, Danica, you want to read the last one?
It's going really well. Would you rather? Yes, take the Krieger cleanse or go on a date with Cheryl.
I mean, not to tell too much about me, but Cheryl's hot, so yeah, Cheryl.
I mean, just remember how nuts she is and what she's into.
I mean, you only live once.
YOLO.
I will say though, Lucky, the guy who does the voice of Krieger, lives in Atlanta. So I've had the fortune of hanging out with him a couple times, and we brought him to Kansas City one year. He is just a wonderful dude, and it's awesome to hang out and just hear that voice all the time. So like when it's like when you're hanging out with him, it's not too far off from his normal voice. It's just like kind of a heightened version of it. So yeah, but he's a great dude. And him and Amber Nash, who is the voice of Pam, she lives in Atlanta as well. So they're both very sweet people.
Oh, I love it.
Hell yeah. Well, Kevin, we have reached the end of our stream. You survived. Way to go. Before we release you back into the Kansas City wild.
Sorry, should I do my wave?
There you go.
Yes, of course.
To the people.
Any final thoughts you want to leave us with here on this fine Thursday night?
No, this is awesome. I'm so glad you guys had me on. I really appreciate it, and this is hella fun. So, let me know when you want to do this again, and we can just do an hour of Would You Rather. So.
Okay, yeah. We would love that. No, we know
Yes.
that you've been doing a lot of media recently, so we're like, we gotta, we always do Would You Rather, but we wanted to keep things as exciting for you as we possibly could. Because I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I definitely try to think of a different way to do each talk. Try to bring something. Bring a different. It's like I'm not sitting there like telling the same version of the story. I'm just and all that stuff because I know how that stuff gets old for y'all. You don't want the same thing that everybody else has. So yeah. I'm yeah.
You're like, I made this entire one up today. None of this has been true. This is all. Gotcha. You're punked.
God, if only I was.
You are a Raffy guy. I knew it.
I know. You got the whole world. That's a Raffy Sanders song, right?
I'm so fortunate that my parents did not make me listen to stuff. Like while my parents' music taste, has a lot of differences from mine. The stuff that I got from them, I'm super grateful for, which is like Elvis, Elton John, Neil Diamond, Dolly Parton. So it's like, there's some good stuff in there that.
Yeah,
I still get mad at them though because like they grew up with Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, like all right there, and they were just like, no.
What?
Come on.
Yeah.
I,
They had ample opportunity to go do things that were cool, and they were just like, nah. So
well, my dad got to play golf with Sammy Davis Jr., which is pretty cool. And
That's
the one
sick,
thing he
yeah.
always says was that he was stoned, which I think, like in old
Mhm.
people talk, that means drunk. I
Mhm.
don't know what that means, but I was like, that's cool. Like, and my parents, I got to see like the Beach Boys and the Mamas and the Papas, and
Oh,
Danica
that's
and
awesome.
I got to see like what Hanson, like what do we get?
Yeah.
Like what like,
Yeah.
what's
I mean,
our-
my first concert I still remember was it was when
Ozzy?
Billy Joel and Elton John were on tour together.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the first one
Okay.
I remember. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was like 8 or 9.
I worked in a record store when that first Hanson album came out, and so it was the weirdest dichotomy because you had people coming in for Hanson, and then you had people coming in for Master P. Like those two things, if you remember, those two things were huge
My two
at
sides.
the time. Yeah, yeah. Well, it was a record store. It was one at Camelot. I don't know if you remember Camelot Musics, but it was in the
Oh,
mall.
yeah.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Man, like if I could like just when I think about things that would make me really happy, it would be a 90s mall. Like I want like Gadzooks. I want like
Yep,
FYE,
had that.
Camelot
Had that.
music,
Heard that.
like old school Spencer's when it was like good and
Yep.
didn't just have like sex
Yeah.
toys in it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
come on. Can we just
Mhm.
I mean,
know.
we can combine the Spencers of now with Spencers of then and get like the best of both worlds.
Fine, whatever. I just would love a 90s mall and the food court and like just like the aesthetic is brilliant.
Do you remember One Potato Two, where mostly they just sold variations of potatoes, like fries,
Potatoes.
baked potatoes, like
And like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like skewers of potatoes, right? Like did they have
Yeah.
like potato skewers?
How did I
Yeah.
miss
Now
that?
I'm hungry and angry,
Right.
and like it just like because I can't have it, like it makes me very frustrated.
the One
but-
Potato Two was just down the food court from the record store, so you could smell it constantly, like where you're working there, and especially like working like Christmas at a record store in a mall, like it was it was something else. I loved it and hated it at the same time. It was nothing like the movies told me working in a record store as a teenager would be. So
Yeah,
Was
Empire
it Empire
Records did not
Records?
come true for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
not once did anybody like break out into song and everybody do like a flash mob with them. So
Wait, that's not real. Hold on.
I know.
Are you sure?
I still keep rewatching Empire Records every Rex Manning
It is-
Day, just trying to
Yeah.
Well, it just
hopefully
passed.
Yeah.
I know it did. I'm just trying to
So
manifest
sexy.
that in my life. So.
Us too. That's probably
Yeah.
one of Danica and my favorite movies of
Easily.
Of
Oh, it's the
all
best.
times.
It's the best. Yeah.
It's how I
Also
heard
has-
about Guar. I mean, like,
Yeah.
all that other music.
Yeah,
and-
same. Yeah. I want to say it was either that or Beavis and Butthead.
Why
but
don't you
probably
join
that.
the band?
Yeah. Oh man.
Uh,
Well, like
well,
let's
and
have
it
you
also-
back on. I was
Yeah,
gonna say
I
we
was
have
just
to have
gonna
you
say
back
real
on and talk all things 90s and but please
Please.
continue. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes.
It has the best Gin Blossom song on it. That's all I was going to say.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
I
it
have
does.
to.
That entire album is
Oh yeah.
genius. Like at
Mhm.
Snake.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, since we've reached the end, before we let you go, we're going to go over all of our upcoming guests that we have coming up, which we like have stuff until June, which
many.
is kind of crazy. Next
Yeah.
Tuesday we have David Cook from American Idol. Next Thursday we have David Sobolov, who is the voice of Gorilla Grodd, and I know he's also Drax. And then Tuesday we're so excited, Felix Cavallari from the Young Rascals. We also have Jason Marsden, who is the voice of Max Goof from Goofy Movie. We have Megan Lindsay, John Kassir from Tales from the Crypt, Constantine Maroulis, also from American Idol. We have Matt Raywald, who is Aiden English from WWE. I'm trying to see who else we have. Steve Gonzalez. We have Jarek Reddick from Bowling for Soup. We have Nick Wheeler from All American Rejects. We have John Elefante from Kansas, Jonah Ray from everything, and we'll have to have you back on, Kevin Mellon.
Please, yeah, anytime. And make sure we find each other next week in the planet. So
Oh, I will 100% come and find you, and we'll have a
A little
great
jealous.
time.
It's fun.
Yes. Any final thoughts, Kevin? Anything you want to plug before we let you go?
yeah, just you can get my new EP, Songs from the Giant's Chair, on Spotify, Apple Music. Also, there's a couple of cassettes for sale. hauntedbirthday.bandcamp.com. Yeah, hauntedbirthday.com is the record label. So yeah, go listen to that. And it was nice of you to put the graphic for the instrumental album Guitarscapes in your little preview thing. I love that album. It's been nice that people have like been listening to it. if you like instrumental music, that's speaking to the horror movie score type stuff. This is very kind of, it's not horror movie, it's more calming. I get a lot of compliments saying, oh, I love writing to it. So which is to me is a high compliment. So yeah,
That's cool.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
Oh, and then also, if since this is live right now, Sunday, April 24th, after Planet Comic-Con, I'm going to be debuting. It'll be the first time performing those songs from the Giants Chair songs live. So that'll be at the Rhino in North Kansas City. So.
Sweet.
Very cool.
Yay. Well, hopefully I'll have time to check. I should have time.
I get it if you don't. But yeah, just trying to get the word out as much as possible. My friends, I'm about to go have band practice right now, were kind enough to join me in this harebrained thing of like, hey, let's put a band together in 3 weeks before the show and perform all these songs. So
as one does. That's what movies are written about, literally.
It really is. If I'd been smarter, I would have documented the whole thing and then come out of it with something. But I'm not that smart. So.
You look pretty smart. Well, anyway, until we meet again, enjoy your IPAs and your, what were they? Cheesecake cookies?
Oh, raspberry cheesecake. Actually, I'm probably not going to have one, but they do look good.
Okay, well,
just go get some Chessy corn and
Chessy corn is where it's all out. Yeah.
Get them out to Raffy, and we will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.